Go ahead.
To me, it was really reminiscent of the Delman Young double 5 years ago.
That electricity where everybody jumps up. How about the drinks flying everywhere? That was very Yankee Stadium, wasn't it?
Oh, sure. And look, I mean, I don't have any affinity or strong disdain for the Nationals.
Why is that? Why is it that Baltimoreans can have such vibe for the Redskins and the Nationals are just like the cousin down the street that we haven't met that we don't care? You know what I mean? Literally. And the Nationals have been the bane of Angelos' existence, although they've made him wealthy. I know some fans here hate them because there's a lawsuit that they don't understand. But we don't have a disdain for the Nationals the way the Redskins. Well, I mean, the Redskins kept football out of here for 13 years. I mean, the Nationals are going to be the reason the Orioles leave Baltimore if that ever happens, by the way. That'll be the truth.
Yeah. I think a lot of it just has to do with, you just mentioned it, I mean, the Redskins, it's memories of Jack Kent Cooke and having to watch, being force-fed the Redskins on Sundays here in Baltimore when there was no football team, and I think it has to do with that. In the same way that, I mean, lots of Baltimoreans like the Caps and root for the Caps. I mean, I think it's more along those lines, but just in general, I mean, it was a fun baseball game. I mean, you had clearly Max Scherzer wasn't very sharp early on, gives up 2 home runs, and I mean, Washington just didn't do a whole lot, and Josh Hader comes in the game, one of the best relievers in baseball, and you're thinking, my goodness, you're going to have to push at least 2 runs across to extend the game against him, and you see what Soto ends up doing. And
by the way, I still go back to that, and if I'm a Brewers fan, dude, that ball hit the bat. That ball did not hit his hand. Like, even in slow-mo, the first contact that the ball hit was the bat. And, like, I haven't read the aftermath. I don't care enough about the Brewers, although Craig Counsell seems like a nice man. I mean, I drank some beer there with Jack Harbaugh one day. I'm just I am a fly on the wall watching a baseball game. They got that call wrong, and the Brewers got eliminated. Like, I really feel like they got that call wrong, and the announcers were like, oh, well, it hit both simultaneous. It wasn't. To me, my eyes didn't see simultaneous. My eyes saw the bat was the first thing that happened, then the body. It's a dead ball. He doesn't get first base. And maybe the Brewers are playing the Dodgers right now. So, I mean, as much as the Nationals have had all this bad luck and they've had a little Charlie Brown, black cloud over their heads, and good for them. Screw the Nationals. I hope they lose in 3 games to the Dodgers. But that being said, and I'm going to wear my Dodgers hat this week. But that being said, I thought it was a foul ball, Luke. I mean, I know we'll argue pass interference and all that stuff. I'd argue that whether it's the Orioles, the Yankees, the Padres, it wouldn't matter who it is.
Yeah, and I mean, they made the point that the call, first of all, they said the call stood. They didn't confirm it, so there's that. But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it was knob of the bat, just a split second, and how much are we talking here? A few hundredths of a second?
No, but the way the ball moved, ball moved off the bat. The ball didn't move off of flesh. If it moved off the flesh, it would have gone straight down. I mean, it took a true hop off the bat when it hit him, and I was perplexed that they would give him first base on that. I just thought it would, it was, put your batting gloves back on and get back in the box.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it.
See, for me, I thought it was knob of the bat, grazed the hand, and then hit off the body. So, I mean, the end result would still be
get back in the box.
He should be back in the box, but I'll say this. I mean, it just comes down to it. Josh Hader just wasn't very sharp. I mean, as terrific as he has been the last couple of years, I mean, way back when, he was an Orioles farmhand that was dealt for Bud Norris, who was pretty big for the Orioles in a couple crucial games in 2014. But
can I ask you a question about him? How many times has he come into a game with that mop top and his mechanics all over the place, right? He's a local kid. And I talked to him at the All-Star game. I talked to him in that building last year when it was the day all the crap broke about his tweets from when he was 12 years old and all that stuff. So how many times does a pitcher in the modern era have to come into Yankee Stadium in Game 7 where it's mobbed, packed? I don't know how many times that kid has stood on a mound that wasn't spring training, Arizona, 12,000 people, sleepy night, maybe at home in Milwaukee getting the last couple of outs where the crowd's on his side and whatever. Dude, it was pretty lit when he was out there and throwing the ball 6 feet high, you know what I mean? Like, and he just came unglued to me. And part of that is, it's a tough situation to manage because it's not something you manage every day in baseball anymore. Where, I mean, I think football stadiums aren't as loud as they used to be. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. Lamar Jackson's not going to have to manage third down in Mile High Stadium the way Joe Flacco did for a decade because the stadiums aren't as loud as they used to be. They're not as full as they. I mean, everything about all of this. But for that moment, I felt the hair on the back of my neck standing up, and I haven't felt that in a baseball game in a while. And I'm wondering, these pennant race matchups aren't 55,000 and packed and hanging on every pitch every night the way maybe Bud Selig dreamed it up 25 years ago when he thought all these September games would pack stadiums and all that. I just felt like it was a big moment, and there aren't a lot of those moments when you're Josh Hader or you're anybody in baseball to have that Roger Clemens Yankee Stadium 2001 every night, bright lights. It just felt like he came unglued. I mean, for a moment, that's how it felt to me.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he wasn't sharp. I mean, and that's going to happen sometimes. I mean, and especially to your point, when you're in, it's one thing to talk about high leverage pitching the 8th or ninth inning of a big game, even in September compared to October baseball. I mean, it's a different animal, and I don't think it's a case that the moment's too big for him. I mean, Josh Hader's pitched in big games before, plenty of big games before, and the Brewers have been really competitive. I mean, they were in the postseason last year, so.
But those moments, it's quiet for a long time, and then it gets real loud. Sure. And it looked like it got real loud in his head real quickly, especially after the long timeout, off the bat. He saw it. You know what I mean? Like, he thought the guy should be back in the box. What's he doing on first? And then the next thing you know, you lose. I mean, it happened real quick. I mean, it came unglued. It went from long faces on the TV to celebration sprays. And that's just such a baseball thing, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of baseball this year. Why would I? You did. Why did you? But when you put it on and you stay awake with it, and I saw that, Kornheiser fell asleep, which I think's awesome. I think it's awesome that I fell asleep on the moment Lamar Jackson was drafted and woke up and saw him on the podium. It's more fun when you get older like that. But it was one of those kind of games that I never felt like the Nationals were out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did, just more so because of what their DNA has been in those spots. I mean, you mentioned it, being Charlie Brown. I mean, they are the epitome of Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown. I mean, that's the first time they've ever won a clinching game as the Washington Nationals. I mean, that's just where they've been. So I think it was interesting in that regard. And
they even started the wrong pitcher.
And let's keep in mind, I mean, he gave up the hit, and yes, the game would have been tied, but the right fielder took a terrible route on the Soto hit. And
so many things went wrong there. If we're on Milwaukee radio today, I mean, we got to go to the Shots Brewery and have 6 today.
And it's such a shame for them because, I mean, it was so unfortunate for them to lose Christian Yelich, who was just a phenomenal baseball player. And you look at how they played down the stretch. I mean, they were terrific down the stretch, how they played to stay in that position, to get in that position. I mean, so many people figured it'd be the Cubs, and they collapsed, and it was the Brewers and the Cardinals in that division getting the job done. But, going back to it, I mean, Josh Hader, he wasn't very good. And, you can point to the hit-by-pitch foul ball scenario, but he just wasn't particularly sharp, and you give the Nationals a lot of credit for as much as that type of moment hasn't been in their DNA. They've been the team on the opposite end of that in their brief history in Washington, but they got the job done, and they're moving on. And what do they get for it? They get to play the juggernaut that is the L.A. Dodgers, so good luck with that.
He is Luke Jones. You can find him, Luke, at WNST.net. It is Pittsburgh week around here. We are getting ready for football, but it's going to be a lot of baseball going on now. It's sort of local. The Nationals are playing the Dodgers. The Yankees are playing. You got plenty of teams to root against here, and you can pick your side on Astro Ball and the remnants of Mike Elias and Sig Mejdal. A last thing for you, and I'm not going to belabor this with you, Luke, but I I did look John Angelos in the eyes and ask him a question and forced him to answer it, and I did write a blog about it. So that is out. Oh, say, can you see a real lease for the Orioles at Camden Yards by the dawn's early light? I have inked a blog. Luke, I think that's a whole segment you and I could get into a little later on and beat that thing up, but I just want to let everybody know I'm still writing about baseball, watching baseball, thinking baseball, and you can find me out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. The morning newspapers, bigger, better, including my blogs, Luke's blogs, Dennis Colazzos, Peter DeLutis. We're all writing now. Please read our work at WNST.net and follow along. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Text service is still there. When Tim Williams gets cut, you get it first. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford at Security Boulevard, and Dennis Colazzos will be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, driving you home for Pittsburgh week. I will be involved. Luke will be involved. You'll hear it again on Sunday morning. Luke and I are headed to Pittsburgh with Yins and Not. We're not even going to spend the night. I mean, I'm up and back on this 1 o'clock thing. I mean, a Pittsburgh game where I don't have to stay? Get the pierogies and get the hell out of there is what I say. Hopefully get a victory and get out of there. It would feel a lot better to be 3-2 than 2-3 this week. Nasty at WNST.net is my place. Baltimore Positive is rocking. We're putting together some live shows. We're going to be back at Greenmount Station on the 15th of October with Bradley Bozeman. He's also putting together a big Halloween night we're going to be telling you about later on in the month as well. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Nationals baseball and the Ravens at Pittsburgh week and Baltimore Positive and Baltimore sports.